Great. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here today for the launch of the campaign to pass the Green Bond. Thank you to Jed, who's in the back, and Save the Bay for hosting us at this beautiful location overlooking the beautiful bay and the amazing water here. My name is Sue Anderbois. I'm the Director of Climate and Government Relations at the Nature Conservancy here in Rhode Island, but I'm up here on behalf of a much larger coalition of folks, including the Audubon Society of Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Land Trust Council, Clean Water Action, Save the Bay, folks from Quonset and the Ports Coalition, folks like DEM and the Infrastructure Bank who've all worked so hard to make this green bond happen. But the real champions here are our legislative champions who are here today, some of whom you'll hear from directly. I want to especially recognize Governor McKee, Speaker Shekarchi, Senate President Ruggiero, who couldn't be here today but is so supportive, Senator DePalma, Rep. Cotter. I also see here we've got Chairman Bennett, Rep. Boylan, Representative Kislak, and I'm just going to look, see if I missed anybody unintentionally. If I did, I'm so sorry. I'm looking around. As you all know, Question 4, the Green Bond, includes $53 million of investments to protect the health of our people, our water, and our lands. It includes significant investments in programs that Rhode Islanders care deeply about. Our forest habitat, farmland protection, recreation opportunities, remediation of brownfields, and protection of our lands and waterways, climate resilience, and green jobs at our ports. For many years, Rhode Islanders have demonstrated their strong support for our land and water by voting in high percentages to support the Green Bond every 2 years. And we all need to work together to ensure that 2024 is no different. With so much on the ballot this year, it's our jobs to make sure that the voters know they have the opportunity to vote yes, to support our land, to support our water, and support the people that make Rhode Island green. But we wouldn't have gotten to this point without the support of our governor and the leaders in our General Assembly. So it's my honor now to introduce Governor Dan McKee and thank him for his support of these initiatives. Thank you so much, Governor. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Sue, and it's great to be here to talk about Rhode Island and the future of Rhode Island. You know, it's a beautiful day here in Rhode Island for many reasons, but not just the weather, right? We have momentum in the state that, quite frankly, we've never seen before, right? And one of the major messages to the voters, as we ask them to support the Question 4, is that the funding is going to be very affordable, right? So we already structured that into the budget. We know that the bonds that are on the ballot fit the idea that we have the lowest unemployment rate in our history over a 3-year time frame. We have a GDP that is outperforming the New England or the region 3-to-1 in the last report, and 2-to-1, over 2-to-1 nationally. I say that because the voters are going to need to know that what we're asking them to approve in the bonds is affordable and we can manage it in the budget. So we need all the Rhode Islanders to get out in November and vote yes on Question 4. The good news is that we have a strong team of leaders stepping up to support our Green Bond. And I want to thank Save the Bay for hosting us, Speaker Shekarchi for his leadership on the House side, Representative Megan Cotter for her work and to move this forward, Senator Lou DePalma representing the Senate today. Thank you, Senator, for your support. And of course, Terry Gray, who has a great deal to do. His fingerprints are all over the ask here because he's very engaged to making sure that DEM is be able to support the measures that are put forward. And also Gavin Black from the Rhode Island Ports Coalition, who is supporting this effort. And I think we're going to see a little promo from us shortly, right, what David Preston's told me, that's going to really set the stage for us to be supporting this bond. And of course, Heidi Quinn from the Rhode Island Farm Bureau, where I do say that the farms are very important for the state of Rhode Island, and there's all sorts of different types of farms, right? I remember being on a farm tour when I was Lieutenant Governor with the 39 farms. The idea, one in every community. By the time I was done, I did over almost 70 farms in the state of Rhode Island. So we want to make sure we're including them because they're so important to the objectives that we're setting here in the state of Rhode Island. As I mentioned, we're here today, we're asking Rhode Islanders, all Rhode Islanders, to stand up for cleaner, greener future and vote yes in November on the green bond. Question 4. At the heart of this $53 million bond is our commitment to protecting our environment and growing our green economy, enhancing the quality of life across Rhode Island and all 39 cities and towns. These 3 pillars will help revolutionize our state's fight against climate change and bolster our efforts to become a healthier community for all. Supporting our Act on Climate that I signed early on when I was governor in the spring of 2021. Let's talk about how this bond question will do that, all the objectives that we're setting up and moving us in this direction. The bond paves the way for a major expansion and investments in Quonset Point in Davisville, a major economic driver and a source of good paying jobs in our state, and a central spot as we open up the piers for a supply chain strategy for our offshore wind investments that are being made as we speak with Revolution Wind. It will provide crucial funding for new parks, green spaces, and outdoor projects across the 39 cities and towns. And I put my mayor's hat on because I know how important that investment is in our local communities. And our local communities drive the strength in Rhode Island, so investing in our local communities really makes a lot of sense, not only in terms of the livability and the fact that people have pride in the communities they live in, but overall in terms of tying in the objectives that we have in our state with our Rhode Island 2030 plan. It will make our cities and towns more resilient by giving them resources to address flooding and environmental threats. I don't think you have to go too far. And I've toured the beaches in Narragansett on invitation as you're seeing what is happening on climate change and the impacts that it is having to our resiliency, and we need to invest in that. And I think most Rhode Islanders will agree with that, and that's why we ask you to go and vote yes on the bond 4 in November. And this bond also includes money to preserve farmland and forests and funding to help the city of Newport repair our iconic cliff walk. We need to make sure we're investing and protecting the very things that we talked about in terms of resilience, how this is impacting us in particular on this particular project on the cliff walk in Newport. All these efforts are helping Rhode Island move forward and towards a greener, better future for tomorrow and the next generation. And I think we need to continually be investing, whether it's in Learn 365 on our education, or whether it's in the road to prosperity, raising incomes. We really need to keep our younger generation in mind, and this does exactly that. That's why we've also proposed the state's largest housing bond to spur production, increase affordable housing options, and get more families into their homes, and we thank Speaker Sakachi for his leadership on this issue. We have a bond to make big improvements in the URI campus and the Rhode Island College campus to support the growing interest in biomedical sciences and support the life science hub that we've set up with the General Assembly to make sure that we're producing the skill and talent to fit into those jobs that are so important to us. And of course, the cybersecurity fields at Rhode Island College, we thank Congressman Langevin for leading the charge on already a nationally recognized school at Rhode Island College. Let's not forget our bond to bolster the arts and culture in Rhode Island and help renovate centers across the state so that we're showcasing some of the best performances and unique attractions of our state. I've always felt as though on a local level, on a state level, you got to get the 3 A's down. You got to get the academics, you got to get the arts, and you got to invest in the athletics. So we're asking you to support Bond 4 to support our art and culture in Rhode Island. Our momentum is strong, and with the Green Bond, we can continue to build across Rhode Island for a stronger, healthier, and cleaner tomorrow. So on November 5th, I urge voters to vote yes. I urge everybody to wear their sticker. And if you don't have one before you leave, make sure you get one and let people know, vote yes on question 4 and help Rhode Island be the best it can be for generations to come. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Governor. It's now my honor to introduce Representative Cotter. During her 2 years in the General Assembly, Rep. Cotter has already been such a staunch advocate for the health of our state's forests and environment, including not only making the green bond even greener, which you can see on her shirt, but for fighting for additional forestry staff and being a leader fighting forest fire in our state. Rep. Cotter, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you as we kick off the Green Bond that will preserve the natural beauty and resources of our great state. Thank you for the strong leadership and a shared commitment to our environment. We're making key investments to ensure Rhode Island's landscapes are protected for generations to come. First and foremost, I want to recognize Speaker Shekarchi and Governor McKee for their leadership in making these investments a reality. Without their vision and dedication, none of this would have been possible. Together, we will secure $5 million for farm preservation. Our local farms are critical to Rhode Island's economy, providing fresh and locally grown food and maintaining the rural charm in communities like mine that we have all grown to love. This funding will protect our farms from overdevelopment and ensure that they remain a part of communities for the long term. We've also committed $5 million for forest management. Our forests are more than just beautiful landscapes. They are essential to our environment, supporting wildlife, improving air and water quality, and protecting against climate change. These funds will ensure that our forests are sustainably managed, preventing reckless clear-cutting and promoting responsible stewardship for a path forward. Additionally, we've allocated $3 million to preserve open space, our parks, trails, and natural areas where families gather, where we find peace, and where we connect with nature. These investments will help conserve these cherished spaces, ensuring they remain available for future Rhode Islanders to enjoy. These achievements are a testimony to the shared values we hold dear as Rhode Islanders. I'm grateful for the leadership of Speaker Shekarchi and Governor McKee, and I'm proud to work alongside them to protect our natural resources. Together, we are building a brighter, greener future for our state, and I hope you all join me in voting yes in November. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rep. It's now a real honor to introduce Speaker Shekarchi, who's been such an amazing supporter of the environment with the Environment Council of Rhode Island and all of our priorities in the green community, from Act on Climate to the Renewable Energy Standard, PFAS, solar siting, the Green Bond, so much more. I'd talk all day if I continued saying nice things about you. So, Speaker, thank you so much for all of your support and leadership.
Sue, thank you. Thank you all. What a great day. Huh? Exciting to be here. Huh? Beautiful day. Look at the water. I can't think of a more picturesque place to have a press conference about the green economy. So I want to first thank Megan Cotter for those very kind words. But what you really don't know, everyone likes to talk about the General Assembly. It's behind the scenes where a lot of things happen. And this green bond is greener than it was originally applied for or asked for. And the reason it's greener is for one person who worked very, very hard, who came to me on a regular basis, like every day, and said, Speaker, the green bond is not green enough. The green bond is not green enough. And what are we going to do about it? And I would say, Megan, we have to wait for our revenue numbers, as the governor said, to make sure what we can afford. And we were able to, we had a very strong revenue conference in May. We were able to make some adjustments. And this bond today, as outlined, is a very good bond. It touches a lot of places. It touches Quonset. It touches farmland preservation, farm preservation, open space preservation. This green bond is very green, and it's because of Megan Cotter's efforts. So, Megan, thank you. Thank you for your continued efforts. What a great rep. Who worked tirelessly across the aisle with Mike Chippendale on forest management. Not an easy thing to do, but she did it because she didn't care about what the party was or what the national political flavor of the moment was. She cared about the issue, and she rolled her sleeves up and she got it done. So Megan, thank you for being an outstanding rep, one of the rock stars. We have many rock stars, but many of the rock stars of the freshman class, and we look forward, and we know you'll be coming back in November. So thank you, Megan. Thank you everybody for being here and supporting this great bond, but all the bonds, as the governor said, that we can well within our budget and what we can afford. This is a critical, important bond, and I'll make a prediction. I never like to predict election results or anything else, but I predict that this bond, the green bond, will pass by the highest amount of any of the bonds. It's not because the other bonds aren't important or whatever, it's just that there are so many people who are so invested in the future of our state. And they care about the bay, and they care about farms, they care about forests, they care about renewable energy. And as we stated before, things just don't happen. We've done exciting amounts of work in the environmental field in the last 4 years, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the record here. I want to thank Lauren Carson, who's the House sponsor on the Act on Climate. I want to thank June Speakman for the solar siting bill, who worked very hard. Not easy to do. Lots of different competing interests. But by working together, putting the politics aside and working together, we got good things done. I want to continue to do that. But how do we get good things done? With a team effort with Rebecca Kislak, with Jen Boylan, who were here today. Very strong supporters. But it all happens because we have a chairman who worked really hard, and he's here today. I want to recognize Chairman David Bennett, who chairs our Environmental Committee. David said to me, Speaker, before you became the Speaker, I have never passed a bill out of my committee. Well, he's made up for it because we passed a lot of bills, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the work we've done in the PFAS area, many other areas. It's not easy, and we talk about what we've done and what we've passed, but equally important is some of the legislation we didn't pass. The incinerator bill that came up a couple years ago. Lita Blazajewski, he's not here today, my good friend who works very hard, is my partner in the House. He was very important to him that, the House stood up and make a statement of that. I want to thank, of course, Steve King and David Preston, our friends and partners at Quonset, who do a phenomenal job. And why that is so important and why they're part of this green bond is because we have to continue to be the leader in the country on offshore wind, because that is our future. It is renewable energy, green energy is our future. So thank you, Stephen, thank you, David. And of course, let me conclude by saying this. I want to thank Jed Thorpe for hosting us, but more importantly, for Jed, for your years of advocacy. Not just, I know you're new to Save the Bay, and thank you for doing this and taking this challenge on, and you're doing it so well. But Jed serves on our Bottle Bill Commission. He works really hard, not just because it's an important issue, because he needs to get it right. And he recognizes in order for all initiatives, all legislation to work, you need to bring people together, hear all different points of view, and put together a workable solution. Jed's a big part of that. His years of advocacy in the entire environmental field, wherever it was, whether it's clean water, I can go on and on. I know she's not here, but I want to just give a quick shout out to Amy Moses, who continues to be, as she likes to put it, my environmental conscious. And what I mean that I get the text at 2 in the morning, at 11 o'clock in the morning, how's Merlin? Everyone should know Merlin's my dog. And then she leads into, this is what you need to do for the environment all the time. So thank you for everybody for being here. It's a pleasure and exciting, and I feel very confident about the outcome of this bond. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out and work hard and support it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Speaker. I want to now welcome Senator DePalma up to speak. Senator DePalma, Chairman DePalma, pardon me, has been a longtime champion of resilience, clean water, clean air, open space. He's always a delight to work with. On calls around the green bond during the budget hearings, he would always start with, "Hi, Sue, it's your favorite senator." So I'd like to welcome our favorite senator to this podium, Senator DePalma.
Sue, thank you very much, and Save the Bay, thanks for hosting the event. As the governor said, as the speaker had said, so where I work, I have a great view. It'd be hard to work here with that view every day, but it is a great day. It is a great day for Rhode Island. As was said before, the speaker indicated regarding Representative Cotter. So I've been in the General Assembly for 16 years, maybe for some too long, maybe some not enough, but I am coming back, unless there's a big write-in campaign. You would not know that Rep. Cotter was her first year. We had many calls over the last couple of years. on these related kinds of topics. She's a seasoned representative, so Meg, great working with you. I look forward to working with you again in the next session, but we're fortunate to have somebody like Representative Cotter in the House of Representatives and the initiatives that she brought forward. And like I said, you would not think that this was her first term, first 2 years. So well done, and glad to work with you and look forward to continuing to work with you. I bring greetings from the Senate on behalf of Senate President Ruggiero regarding this bond. As the Speaker said, as the Governor said, and articulated all the details, all the bonds are important. I concur with the Speaker that this bond will probably be the highest passing bond percentage-wise across all the bonds. Why do I say that? So anybody who knows me knows I'm an engineer. I just started my 42nd year at the company that I'm at. I'm a chief engineer. And for me, it's facts, data, and context. I appreciate your opinion, but it's got to be based on facts, data, and context. Going back to facts, data, and context, if you look back in time on the various green or open space related bonds like this over the last 30 plus years, they've passed overwhelmingly. Why is this bond important now? So I think what the Speaker said, and that's because the Speaker, pretty knowledgeable kind of guy, he studies this kind of stuff, I believe he's spot on with regards to that. When we heard the various bonds, as Sue indicated, I chair the Senate Finance Committee, where I've been on for 16 years. Three questions have to be answered with every bond. Do we need it? Do we want it? And can we afford it? The Governor clearly articulated, and Speaker, and Meg, Representative Cotter, sorry, the need, categorically. I think I articulated the want based on the testimony we've had and the testimony over the years with regards to these types of bonds. My constituents, rep constituents, the electorate in the state of Rhode Island have said, we want it. Okay, got to answer all three questions. Can we afford it? Speaker said yes. I mean, the Governor said yes, Speaker said yes, and we categorically, yes, we can afford it. So we've answered those three questions. It now becomes, and it's great for this event today, we should never take anything for granted. As soon as you take it for granted, it's like there's only two ways to run, scared and unopposed. We have to assume that this needs all the work it can. It's great having the signs, we need to get those out there. I look forward to seeing what's at the end here, the little tickler that Sue mentioned earlier. But it becomes our job today to now go out, talk to our friends, family, anybody who will listen to us. Most people don't want to listen to me much, but anybody that will, to say, vote yes on all the bonds, and clearly vote yes on this bond here. It's an important bond that we need to make forward. And why is it? Our budget has all kinds of investments, and they're categorically investments. As the Governor articulated about its growing prosperity, growing people's salaries and income in the state. This seeks to do that. One particular piece with regards to Quonset. And I've always said if there was a way to clone Stephen King, we should be able to figure out how to do that. We need more Steve Kings, and we need more QDCs in the state of Rhode Island. And I'm just saying it because he's here, but we need more of him as well. Let me vector over to our Director of Environmental Management, who I got to know over the years, his predecessor before that. We're fortunate to have Director Gray in that role. Looking at where we are today and where we need to go, we're fortunate to have him in that, and as the Governor articulated, this will become his responsibility and others once this thing gets passed. So great to be here, great to represent the Senate, and I'm glad to move forward and talk to my friends, family, et cetera, my constituents in District 12 about why this is important and why we need to make sure it passes on November 5th. So, Sue, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you so much, Chairman. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Department of Environmental Management's Director, Terry Gray, who in this room I'm sure needs no introduction, who also chairs the Executive Climate Change Coordinating Council. He's led several, pardon me, I don't know why I lost my voice there. He's led several permitting and enforcement program initiatives and reforms at DEM. He's also been involved in the highly successful Brownfields program in Rhode Island since its inception. Another big thank you to Governor McKee. Director Gray is one of the most effective cabinet directors Rhode Island has ever seen in its history, and his commitment to this work is unmatched. We're so grateful for you, Terry, and welcome to the podium.
Geez, Sue. That's a lot to live up to. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming out this morning. I just want to start by saying that we're all here to support question 4, but this bond issue is one of really kind of a series of incredible investments in DEM by both Governor McKee, Speaker Shekarchi, Chairman DePalma, and the whole House and Senate. The past 3 years have really been amazing in terms of how we've been able to rebuild the capacity in our department and really start to do the good work that's expected of us, both on the environment and on climate work. So it's super critical, so thank you very much for your support. Getting back to question 4, I really want to echo what the governor said earlier, and that when you look at the categories of investment in question 4 as proposed, this is investing in Rhode Island. And it's investing in Rhode Island at the community level, which is so important. When you look at the environmental aspects of the bond, you look at things like brownfields investments and reusing properties that have been blighted for years. When we're talking about reusing these properties, they could be for new businesses, they could be for schools, playgrounds, or housing. All of those things are victories that we've seen in the brownfields program over the years. It's very important for the health and future success of Rhode Island to bring those properties back to use. We look at rec grants. All of our municipalities, from Woonsocket and Central Falls all the way out to Block Island, East Bay, West Bay, everybody benefits from local recreational investments. You know, these are our kids that are out there having fun on these playgrounds. And that goes for open space as well. These are benefits that are seen in our neighborhoods across the state. The interesting thing about question 4, though, is a lot of the bond is looked at as investing in preparing Rhode Island for climate change. So we're working to reduce our carbon emissions across Rhode Island. We're working to comply with the terms of the Act on Climate. But in the meantime, we need to prepare the state for the impacts of climate change. Sea level rise, more intense storms, more frequent storms. We've all seen this stuff happen. So when we're looking at repairing the cliff walk, we're looking at investing in Quonset to support offshore wind. We're looking at investing in the Municipal Resiliency Program and the Coastal Resiliency Fund. All of these things are designed to help Rhode Island prepare for the future. And I think that's really important. A couple of other things, really, everything we do is based on partnerships. So everybody in this room today is a partner with us in terms of supporting this bond, so thank you for that. But like the speaker said, and like Chairman DePalma said, eventually, if the bond passes, we're going to need partners for implementation too. And in the past, we've had successful partners at the city and town level, at the land trust level, and also really with all the environmental organizations that are active in Rhode Island to really kind of put this money to work. And that's what it's for. So we're looking forward to that. But first things first, right? So everybody, please marshal your forces and get people out there to understand exactly what this investment is all about and vote yes on question 4. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry, Director Gray. Now we're going to hear from 2 organization people who will benefit from the bond and or have benefited from green bonds in the past. So I would love to welcome to the podium Gavin Black from the Rhode Island Ports Coalition. Gavin is the president of the Rhode Island Ports Coalition, an international maritime services company based in Providence. And as we've heard, this green bond would provide unprecedented levels of support for the clean energy economy, particularly at Quonset Port. And we're seeing across the state the importance of our ports in supporting offshore wind and our green economy. So Gavin, welcome to the podium.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Sue. I realize we're getting towards the end of our program today, so I will not keep you longer than I need to. I'd like to acknowledge Governor McKee and our honored speakers. Thank you. It's great to be with you. You might not know me as well as some of our other speakers today. I am, like introduced so kindly, Gavin Black, president of the Rhode Island Ports Coalition and CEO of Moran Shipping, which is an international maritime services company headquartered right here in Providence, Rhode Island. as I look at Steve King, I can go back 25 years as being a young agent in the Port of Rhode Island. I'm a native Rhode Islander, and Quonset didn't have very much going on back then. It was a very slow, almost dirt road down Devil's Foot path to get out there, and you might have had 1 or 2 vessels a month if you could find it. And then I've seen firsthand that Steve and his planning and his team have built what I call the terminal of dreams down there in Quonset. And it was kind of the motto of if you build it, if you invest in this, if you turn it into intermodal connectivity and deep water port and reinforced piers, the cargo will come. And that's the perspective I bring to this, is that while I'm a local native Rhode Islander, I'm in the international maritime realm. So I've been to Copenhagen, and I've been to Sweden, and I've been to Belgium, and I've seen the potential that we have here in Rhode Island as second to none in renewable clean offshore wind energy. 60 nautical miles southeast of here, and in particular Quonset, is the Saudi Arabia of clean wind energy, and we are poised to capture it in a way that none of our competing states can. While I am part of the Green Bond campaign, I'm not a political guy, but I do know that a key part of turning a good idea into reality is building a coalition that is deep and wide, like the one we have here today with the Green Bond. Quonset Business Park is the leading engine of job growth and economic development in Rhode Island, with over 14,000 jobs and 239 great companies, and continuing to grow. I don't think we've ever worked Steve's staff as hard as we have in the past year with the offshore wind business we're already bringing in to port, between helicopter runs, supply vessel runs, crew transfer vessels. We are back and forth out to the site every single day, right from here in Narragansett Bay. And that's been really incredible. It's led to us hiring. It's led to a vendor supply network chain that only exists in places like New Orleans and other parts of the world that need to support these vessels, which are not transient vessels like an oil tanker or a cement ship, but resident vessels that stay here in port and live here in port and have all kinds of needs for food services. We've engaged Cisco. There's countless companies. Granite Steel Electric is helping us with the electrical problems on some of the vessels. So all new business, and it keeps extrapolating out from company to company. Rhode Island is second to none, like I said, and has been a leader in offshore wind for nearly a decade. We have the first offshore wind installation offshore Block Island, and I think that that's going to look like a quaint antique by the time we're done with what we're building out with these developments. The parts and the components of this are so expensive and so sophisticated and so large and heavy that we really do need reinforced piers to handle it, and that's not going to change, and that's what's going to separate us from our competition in Massachusetts and Connecticut and New York and New Jersey, is that we have this great shoreside capacity in Quonset and these reinforced piers that we've already been successful in investing in, and we must continue to invest to stay ahead of the competition. Our job is to meet that demand and realize the potential for the 1,000 of new good-paying jobs. Led by Steve King, we've implemented a strategic port plan, dramatically expanding the ability to support offshore wind. The Green Bond is a key component for funding of that plan. So here's the bottom line. Rhode Island cannot reach its clean energy goals without offshore wind, and we cannot provide the necessary support to offshore wind projects without the infrastructure that I was just speaking of on the land. It must be up to the task. The Green Bond is essential for all of this. That's why I look forward to working with you on this campaign and asking every Rhode Islander to vote yes on question 4 in November. Thank you.
Awesome. It is now my pleasure to introduce Andrew Morley. Andrew co-runs Sweet and Salty Farm in Little Compton with his wife, selling their amazing cheese throughout Rhode Island, one of Rhode Island's most successful dairy farms. I'm just going to say Andrew by far has the best bio, which I got from his website, but I've also known him for a bit. But he's the head milkmaid, the cheese maker, the animal tender, and the fence mender at Sweet and Salty. But I also know him as a tireless advocate, both as a farmer for climate action, but also for clean water and open space preservation. So thank you for all you do, Andrew, and welcome to the podium.
Thank you. Like Sue said, my name is Andrew Morley, and I'm a farmer from Little Compton. With my wife, Laura Haverland, I operate the only dairy farm left in Little Compton, Sweet and Salty Farm. We make cheese and yogurt on the farm from the milk of our small herd of grass-fed Jersey cows. We are incredibly proud to call ourselves Rhode Island farmers. Neither of us grew up here, so when we set about to start our own farm 15 years ago, after working for other farms and cheesemakers and food businesses in other states, we cast a wide net across the Northeast looking for the right combination of access to good markets and access to good farmland to start our own farm. Through serendipity, we were introduced to a retired dairy farming couple in Little Compton named Linda and Emerson Wild, who had preserved their farm decades before we met them. Because of Linda and Emerson's foresight to preserve their own family farm as farmland in perpetuity, it was still available for us to farm and rent and build our business around. Without the generosity of Linda and Emerson, and without the state's farmland conservation program, most likely Laura and I would be farmers somewhere else. Most likely in a state that has a lot of people that root for the dreaded Yankees. So I'm here today to urge Rhode Islanders to vote yes on 4 to make sure Rhode Island has the funding needed to continue preserving Rhode Island's farms for all the generations in front of us. Farming is the most rewarding work I have ever done, and I've done a lot of different things. It's also the most difficult work I've ever done. The physical demands of farming are intense, but not impossible. The economic realities of operating a farm are challenging, but not impossible. It is, however, impossible to farm if you don't have farmland. If Rhode Island is going to weather the challenges of a rapidly changing climate, which we farmers see the impacts of already, it is really critical that we have farmland here that can support a growing number of farmers, farms, and food production here in Rhode Island. The farmland conservation funding in the Green Bond is a critical piece to making all that happen. I want to thank Governor McKee, Speaker Shikarchi, my Senator DePalma, Representative Cotter, Director Gray, for your tireless support of Rhode Island's colorful collection of small businesses that are our farms here. And lastly, I urge all of Rhode Islanders to support Rhode Island's farms in every way you can, including by voting yes on 4 in November. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. And if you haven't tried his cheese, you definitely should. Sweet and Salty Farm, definitely buy it. This is my plug. So thank you, everyone. This bond will have such an amazing direct impact on so many Rhode Islanders, but only if it passes on and before November 5th. You know, we can vote on 5th, we can vote before the 5th. You can only vote once, but don't forget to tell your friends. There are signs and stickers in the back. And before we go, the Ports Coalition has a great video that they would love to show to help kick off the campaign. So I'm going to get that going. It's down here, so if you see me disappear, everything's good. But we're going to bring that up. One sec. Here it comes.
Hey, Rhode Island. What's in the Green Bond, which is question 4 on this year's ballot? The Green Bond will help make Ponce and support of Davisville a hub for offshore renewable energy, where we preserve valuable land for farming, protect open space, and restore our forests. There's also clean water for drinking, swimming, along with investments to make our coastline and neighborhoods more resilient. So please vote yes on question 4, the Green Bond.
I'm Gavin Black from the Ports Coalition, and I approve this content.
Awesome. So thank you, everyone, for coming and for kicking off the Green Bond campaign with us. And let's get it passed at the highest percentage. Yeah.